to get the Royal Rumble predictions done. The Royal Rumble predictions, we do them every year. I know we are a couple of weeks out, but all the major matches have been announced. There's probably going to be like a pre-show match or something that will get chucked in, but it wasn't really enough to stop me from doing this, to be honest. So I wanted to jump in, get your thoughts, talk about the Royal Rumble. What I wanted, actually, was, we've spoken a lot about the Royal Rumble in our watch-alongs. I wanted to try and get all that information, all of those conversations, just in one place, so that we've got a one-stop shop for everything Royal Rumble, and we can like really go through stuff and break things apart and talk about who we think the winners are going to be, talk about potential surprises, talk about the latest rumors, talk about the latest news. Literally just go through absolutely everything. So slightly different layout on the stream. You can see that we've got a big window that's got a graphic. I kind of like that graphic. It looks really cool. I've got graphics for all of the matches, so as we're talking about them, we can change those graphics around. I've got my predictions below, which you can't see just yet, because we're going to go through them match by match. It does mean I am just a little box, unfortunately, so I am just a little box up here. And then we've got a nice big chat as well. So Barry said Liv Morgan should win. Liv Morgan should win. Well, we'll see who I've got. I can tell you that all of my predictions are already written down. All of my predictions are written down. So I'm not going to change them. I can't change them. You literally just can't see them at the moment until we've gone through all of the matches. So I now cannot change my mind on the predictions that I've got in there. Also, I can't quite remember everything I've written down, which might be a problem. But we will go through them and take it match by match. Normally what I do is talk for about 15 minutes and then jump into the chat. I always feel a little bit rude doing that. So the chat's on screen. If I need to jump into the chat, I can do. I can see you all throughout this, but I do want to just talk really for the first 10 minutes or so that we can kind of get through the matches, and then we'll probably just do like an hour afterwards or something. So we'll probably be around for about an hour and a half. And just go through Royal Rumble, talk about the latest news, all that kind of stuff. There is a bit of news coming through that I can see a lot of people talking about, and that is Mustafa Ali. So I don't want to spend too long on this because it's not really Rumble related, but apparently Mustafa Ali has come out on social media and requested his release from WWE. Now, my immediate thought is I've got a few thoughts on this, a few different thoughts. One of them is that Mustafa Ali, it's very strange for him to publicly announce his release or request for a release. He hasn't said that he's been released. He's just announcing that he wants to be released by WWE. And not only is that a bit weird, but also he said it's because there's something bigger that pro wrestling won't allow him to do. I could be really off on this, but I'm wondering if it's a new gimmick. I could be really off on it. I will be the first to admit that it might not be that, right? But I'm just thinking, if you're going to request your release, why not wait for it to be granted first, then actually come out and say why you've been released, right? Why would you announce that you've requested your release? Like, it seems a bit weird. It seems a bit early. Seems like, I don't know why you would do that now. Like, wouldn't you just wait for WWE to confirm, okay, we will release you, and then you can make whatever announcement you want to make? So the way that he's done it is the first kind of red flag, if you will, that's made me go, But then the other thing that's made me go, is the fact that he says that there's something bigger than pro wrestling that he wants to do. And I'm just thinking, is that some kind of new gimmick? Could it be a new gimmick? Could it be that he now is going to be some kind of spiritual guy that's, and he thinks he's bigger than wrestling, or he thinks that his calling is bigger than wrestling? Because that's a weird thing to come out with. To say there's something bigger than pro wrestling. I mean, look, maybe he genuinely wants to go and he wants to do some charity work. Like, that would be bigger than pro wrestling. So maybe he wants to get into that. And that could absolutely be legit. But I must admit, I did look at it and go, I think we all have that little I think we all have that little kind of voice sometimes when you're looking at things, and there was just enough there for me to go, But, as I said, I'm not like one of these crazy conspiracy theorists. I am quite happy to admit that this could be genuine. It could just be that he has announced his release. He's just going to jump the gun. He might go off and do charity work. I genuinely don't know. But that's some news that's kind of breaking through at the moment. Right, let's go, shall we, into the Royal Rumble and take this match by match so that we can get this done, and then we can jump into the chat and talk about whatever you want to talk about. If you want to talk about Mustafa Ali, if you want to talk about the surprises, if you want to talk about potential winners, we can do all of that. I've got so much information to go through. There's loads of stuff for us to talk about. So what I've got is I've got Forbidden Door, I've got Paige, I've got WrestleMania 38, I've got the odds for the winners, and I've also got some potential storylines that could come out of the Royal Rumble. So quite a few things to go through. I feel like a lot of this is going to be around the Rumble matches, and they're the last things we're going to talk about. So we might as well get the other matches out of the way first. So first match we're going to do is Roman versus Seth. Quite easy. Roman wins. Right. Thanks a lot for coming. That was my TED Talk. Roman wins. That is my official prediction. I can't see that changing. I mean, we know that Seth was meant to be WWE champion at day one. It got revealed that that was the plan. But at no point does it say that he's meant to be Universal champion. Like, it's quite a change to put, Seth as Universal champion. Because that's Roman's brand, and I can't see them taking Roman off SmackDown, and I can't see Seth being champion, Roman getting into a feud with Brock, but it's going to happen on Raw. Seth's going to be champion on SmackDown. It's all messy. It all strikes me as really, really messy. I can understand Seth being champion on Raw and being WWE champion and having feuds with Bobby, having feuds with Kevin, having feuds with Big E. Like, I can understand that. But now getting involved with Roman, and Roman's involved with Brock, and we know that they want to do Roman-Brock at WrestleMania. I just feel like this is too messy. I think it's too messy. I think that Roman is... There was talk that apparently they wanted to do Roman-Jeff. There's every chance that Seth's just coming in to plug a gap for the Royal Rumble. So I'm going to say that Roman retains. He's going to keep a hold of that championship, and he will go into WrestleMania as the Universal Champion. So that's my thoughts on that and why. Next, we've got Edge and Beth taking on Miz and Maryse. And honestly, I can't remember which way I went on this one because it is very close. Right, I've gone with Edge and Beth. It's really close, this one, because as a one-off match, I think it's... I can't see them doing a rematch of this, to be honest. So Edge and Beth, I would imagine, should win. Like, the faces should go over the heels. But part of me thinks this is going to be a feud that's going to continue. Maybe the follow-up is going to be Edge and Miz. I mean, I can't see Maryse doing too many matches. Beth, I think, she might fancy a few matches. It might be that she quite fancies doing more than just this one, but I kind of think this is a fun match. I really like it. I really like this card, actually. Maybe only Becky DOUDROP's the only thing that doesn't grab me, but Roman Seth, yeah, okay. Not how I would have booked it, but fine. Edge and Beth taking on Miz and Maryse. Really good. Really excited for that. I think it'll be a lot of fun. And there's going to be obviously some really good promos and stuff. And it's already interesting what with Maryse seemingly falling out with Miz. Bit of drama there. It's kind of hard to know where this is going to play out, to be honest. It could be that Miz and Maryse win and we get the rematch of this in Saudi Arabia. That could absolutely happen. That could absolutely happen. And I do think that Edge versus Miz is locked in for Saudi Arabia. I just can't tell if Beth and Maryse will be involved as well. So I've gone with Edge and Beth. I'm thinking they might be the only time they do this mixed tag. And I'm thinking that, would you really have Beth lose? Don't know. I kind of think Edge and Beth should go over. So, but that one I don't feel great on. I'm not gonna lie. Actually, out of a lot that we're talking about, that's one of the harder ones to call, I think. Next. Oh, do you know what? I said I was going to change the picture, didn't I? And I've spent all this time getting them, and I had never changed the picture. I'm an absolute disgrace. I'm an absolute disgrace. There we go. There is. Those are the people we were just talking about. If you have no idea what they look like, so that is that. Right. We're gonna move on. Boom. Becky, who I think looks really cool there, by the way. Don't know why. She looks like a rip-off Lady Gaga. But we've got Becky and we've got DOUDROP. So this is maybe a match that I'm not crazy excited about. The reason being is because I just don't think they've built DOUDROP up. DOUDROP came in as kind of a heel, working with Eva. She was kind of a heel, but she wasn't really a heel. She was like a good person that kind of fell in with the wrong crowd. So she came in with Eva. Then she turned on Eva, and she had a little face run. Then she ended up turning on someone, I can't remember, but then she had a heel run. Now they're putting her up against a heel, even though she's a heel. And this is heel versus heel. It's so messy, isn't it? So we got Becky, we got DOUDROP. So, yeah, I'm not crazy into this. I'm not crazy into this, to be honest. Becky against DOUDROP. I think Becky retains. I think this is literally just a case that, oh, my God, we need someone to face Becky. We need someone to face Becky. We've just gone through Liv. If you actually look, they're rotating Becky's opponents. I don't know if you've noticed, but she's facing DOUDROP here. At the last pay-per-view, day one, she faced Liv. At Survivor Series, she faced Charlotte. At Extreme Rules, I believe it was Bianca. In Saudi Arabia, it was Sasha and Bianca. Like, she hasn't faced the same people twice in a row on pay-per-view. So they seem to be wanting to keep giving her fresh matches. They seem to want to be giving her, like, fresh matchups, and I think that's a continuation here, because they easily could have done the Liv rematch. They could have found a way of got another Liv match in there, but instead, they've gone with DOUDROP, and I just expect Becky to win, to be honest. At no point do I think Becky's losing this match. So I'm quite confident on Roman beating Seth. I'm quite confident on Becky beating DOUDROP. Right, next one, LESNAR, Lashley, and then we will get to some really good stuff because we are going to have the Royal Rumble talk. So LESNAR, Lashley is the next one that we're going to be looking at. Let's change the picture over. Boom. Right, with this, I think that they really want to do Roman versus Brock. I don't see why they want to change that. That is money. I mean, we are talking about money. Just because you have to slightly change a plan for day one doesn't mean that you can't get back on track and get to where you want to go. And I think that Brock Lesnar against Roman Reigns is a match that they keep going back to because it's a match that keeps delivering views, keeps delivering buy rates. It's the two biggest stars they've got. And I just think they're going to go that way. I really do. I really think we're getting Brock Roman at WrestleMania this year. And even though we've had to go a detour, I think we're going to get back to it. The question is, do they do title versus title, or do they do just Brock versus Roman? One of them doesn't have a belt, right? Now, I think Roman goes in as Universal Champion, so he beats Seth. I, at no point, have thought this would be champion versus champion. I think it would be cool, and I'd be down for it, but I think part of the problem is the USA Network are going to want a champion to be on Raw, and Fox are going to want a champion to be on SmackDown. So both of these big networks are going to want the world champion. Like, I don't think Fox are going to be too impressed if there's one champion and they're over on Raw. I understand that you can have that champion bounce between the two shows. I don't see that being Brock Lesnar. Honestly, I don't know if I see that being Roman, because that's all of a sudden now you're asking someone to work two shows, both of the shows a week, go onto the Raw show and go over onto the SmackDown show and do that forever, seemingly, where you just have that one champion going across both shows. Everything about it seems quite messy, to be honest. The only advantage seems to be that you then just have one world champion, which I really love. Because don't forget, when I got into wrestling, there was the Winged Eagle. That was it. I know you had the NWA and you had WCW, but that was outside of WWE. So that didn't count. It wasn't on my radar. Inside WWE, you just had the Winged Eagle. It's just not that world now. We just don't live in that world. Like, we've got Raw, we've got SmackDown. I'm thinking they want to keep both belts. They want to keep 2 world champions. It allows you to do champ versus champ at Survivor Series as well. I'm thinking that it's going to be Roman versus Brock, and someone is not going to have a belt. And I'm thinking that Lesnar loses the title here. I think Lesnar is going to lose the title to Bobby Lashley. It's a big call. It could be that Brock retains because it could be that Brock loses at Saudi Arabia. It could be that Brock loses at a pay-per-view show in March. There's plenty of time for Brock to lose the title. It doesn't have to be at the first time of asking. The only thing I would say is that if Bobby can get the win here, that is a big win. That is a massive, massive win for Bobby Lashley. If he can get the win here, that really puts him to the moon. Like, a win over Brock Lesnar is significant. So it won't be clean. No way will it be clean. If it happens, then it's the Usos getting involved. We already know that Brock wants Roman, and we already know that Brock is in a feud with Roman. I could see the Usos coming down, interfering, costing Brock his belt, and that would then put even further tension. Because did Paul know that the Usos were going to do that? Is Paul in on this? Like, it adds to that story. So all of a sudden, then Brock Lesnar doesn't have the belt. He doesn't know whether he can trust Paul. You've got the Usos that have got involved. We don't know if Roman sent the Usos. We don't know if the Usos acted of their own accords. There's so many wrinkles. It is a wonderful story, and really builds us up towards WrestleMania. Keeps Brock looking strong. It's a big moment for Bobby Lashley. Like, I just see win, 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 win all around here. The only thing that would disappoint people is the fact that it wouldn't be title versus title at WrestleMania, and I do understand that. But, again, it's a 2-day WrestleMania. Like, they are constantly looking for matches to have purpose. It's easier to have 2 title matches than have one match that's got 2 belts in it. Like, it's easier to advertise a WWE Championship match and a Universal Championship match than one match that's got both belts, because you've got to fill some time. You've got 2 days that you've got to fill. So, I don't know. There's just a lot pointing towards it not being title versus title. I think the title versus title thing is, I could be wrong, but I think it's something that's kind of operating in the wrestling community. I don't know that it's actually come from any kind of conversation at WWE. I kind of think that people want that belt versus belt, champion versus champion match, but I don't know that it's come from anywhere other than fantasy booking. So, as I said, for me, I think there's a lot of advantages of putting that title on Bobby Lashley. I think there's ways you can do it that won't make Brock look weak. I think that it builds and puts wrinkles in the story towards Brock and Roman. Brock and Roman is the plan for WrestleMania. We can still get back to that. There's questions to be asked about the Usos. There's questions to be asked about Paul Heyman. Still gives WrestleMania its big money match, and it gives WrestleMania its secondary WWE Championship match as well. It just seems to make sense. As I said, though, maybe it doesn't happen here. Maybe it happens in Saudi Arabia. Maybe it happens in March. Maybe it doesn't happen at all. But, that's my thoughts on it at the moment. So I've got Roman, I've got Edge and Beth, I've got Becky, and I've got Lashley. That's what I've got with the undercards. That then brings us to the Women's Royal Rumble, right? The Women's Royal Rumble, and this is what it's all about, isn't it? It's about these 2 Royal Rumble matches, and we're going to talk about surprises, and we're going to talk about winners. Who do we think the surprise is going to be? Who are the winners going to be? So it's worth talking about the Forbidden Door, first of all, because obviously WrestleVote sent that tweet out saying that the Forbidden Door was going to be potentially opened again. We already know that Mickie James is in the Royal Rumble, and she is the current Impact Women's Champion. But apparently WWE are thinking of opening that door for the men's side of things. I did just jot down some names for who it could be. I was wondering if they could go and get Gail Kim. I think there's a bit of heat there. I don't think she's in their good books, but Gail Kim would be a great name because she's a brilliant wrestler. She was way before her time as well. I mean, she is someone that would have really thrived, I think, now. But she was around. She was a legit wrestler. She's obviously gone off to have a great career elsewhere. And, you know, she did some stuff in WWE, but she was just before that Divas Revolution. She was just before it. And she could be a really fun entrant. Haven't seen her in a long, long time. But I believe she is currently on the Impact roster. So she is someone that I wondered if they could reach out to. Or maybe they did reach out to and she turned them down. Other names, but these are more for the men's. Zack Ryder. I mean, Zack Ryder's well known, you know, won the Intercontinental Championship at WrestleMania 32. Obviously part of the Major Figure Brothers podcast thing. And he could potentially be a surprise entrant. He is also part of that Forbidden Door because I believe he's signed with Impact. Heath Slater. I love Heath Slater. He would be one that I would really enjoy seeing come back, actually, Heath Slater. So Heath Slater is also with Impact. Rhino is with Impact, and Rhino's a big name. He's obviously got that extreme background, and, you know, he is someone that was not around too long ago. He was a tag champ with Heath Slater. I think he was a SmackDown tag champ. So he was around not that long ago. Maybe unlikely, but, you know, just throwing out a few names of people that are in Impact that are former WWE superstars. I've heard a lot of people saying, could it be Moose? Could it be Su Yung? Could it be all these? I don't think it's going to be anyone that hasn't been in WWE before. I think if they are going to go to another company and get someone, they're going to want someone that has been in WWE before. I don't expect it to be anyone from AEW because I don't think there's a good relationship there. And AEW, honestly, they're not too far from Raw. I mean, they're getting about 1 million. Raw's doing about, 1.6? So it's the closest. Don't forget, Impact does less than NXT. So, you know, bringing in the Impact Women's Champion, no offense to Impact, doesn't do a great deal, right? It's not seen as a threat now, I don't believe, Impact. I think it's been around for so long, it just bobs along that, you know, at this point, I think we can honestly say it's not going to challenge WWE or rival WWE or take down WWE. So that's why I think it's a little different with Impact. In regards to AEW, we know that Tony Khan has been very vocal and outspoken about WWE, and shots have been fired towards WWE. And I just think if you're under an AEW contract, I do not see you being anywhere near this Royal Rumble at all. There's people talking about Jericho. There's people talking about Moxley. I do not see it at all. Right? I know everyone gets excited and it's fantasy booking and all of that, but this is their closest rivals. I know it might not mean much to the viewers at home. Like, for the viewers at home, they just want to see Dean Ambrose come back, and they just want to see, like, Matt Hardy or whatever, Christian come back, or Sting back in a ring. But to WWE in an office, you know, this is business, and you know, Vince is a businessman. And I don't see him doing that. I just don't see him reaching out to his nearest rivals who have been very outspoken against WWE and, you know, allowing some of their talent to be on one of their biggest shows of the year. It doesn't add up. It doesn't make any sense whatsoever. So I'm not expecting anyone from AEW. I don't know that I'm expecting anyone at all, to be honest. That tweet from WrestleVote said it was very unlikely that anything was going to happen. But they said they were... I can't remember the wording they used. I think they said skeptical that anything further would happen, but there is talks of maybe having a look in that forbidden door. So the names I had were like Gail Kim, Zack Ryder, Heath Slater, Rhino. I don't know if there's anyone at NWA. I mean, it'd be great if they got a Carter, but I mean, they won't do. I don't see that happening. Braun. I think Braun did something with Ring of Honor. I mean, Braun Strowman would be cool. The reason or the rumor that they parted ways with Braun, I heard they parted ways with Braun because they wanted to get a Moss over. They wanted to try and build up a Moss. So I think a Moss being in the Rumble means that it won't be Braun, because I think their focus is going to be on making sure that a Moss looks like the only monster in the ring. If you bring out Braun, then a Moss maybe doesn't look quite as special. So I'm not expecting Braun, to be honest. But we are talking about women's surprises, and we are talking about women's winners. So we need to maybe refocus, or I need to refocus on that. In regards to surprises, I don't know what they're going to be, obviously, because they're surprises, but we can, of course, speculate. The ones that are being mentioned are the likes of Paige. So Paige is getting mentioned. She was Randall Ortman, not Randy Orton. Randall Ortman. I don't know who he is. I think he works for, like, Ringside or something. He said that it looked like there could be a one-night return for Paige. I don't know how reliable this guy is. I've never even heard of him. But I'm going to think not. I'm going to think they won't bring Paige back. I think if you was going to bring Paige back, you'd probably bring her back as maybe a commentator, a GM, something along those lines. I don't think they'll bring her back in the Royal Rumble. So I'm thinking it won't be Paige. The names that I'm thinking of, I'm just expecting some returns. I mean, if you look at how many women are on screen right now, there's not many spots left. And I think they want the big moments to be returning superstars. I think Bayley and Asuka are my picks. I think Bayley and Asuka are the ones that I'm thinking could be the surprises. So Bayley and Asuka are the two that I'm going for. The other ones that were in the running, Paige, obviously, and as we said, potentially someone like Gail Kim. I don't think they'd reach out to AJ Lee. But in all fairness, she's not with AEW. She's with that Women of Wrestling thing. So, I don't know. I mean, they might have reached out to her, but that relationship's not great, is it? So, I don't think she would have accepted. So, yeah, it's maybe a bit tricky. And it doesn't make sense why some people that would have been surprises got announced. You know, like the Bellas. Why did they get announced? Lita. Why did she get announced? Mickie James. Like, these could have been the surprises. So I think they've announced the ones that could have been the surprises. And instead, they're going to put that focus on returning superstars. Rick E245 said, what are your thoughts on Alexa Bliss winning the Women's Royal Rumble? Ricky E245, shout out to you, my friend. Really appreciate the support. A big shout out to everyone that's joining us for this completely random live stream. As he said, I saw a little window, an opportunity to do this Royal Rumble kind of prediction video. And I know it's a few weeks out, but everything's announced that's like the big matches. So, you know, it might be the odd thing that gets announced, like the odd pre-show match, but, you know, doesn't matter, does it? Who cares? So I think in regards to your question, Alexa Bliss is actually currently, because I've got the odds on the winners, and it brings us nicely to the winners. So you asked that question at a really great time. So I've got the odds on the winners. I've actually got the top 10 favorites to win the Royal Rumble. I'm going to go down that list, and then I'm going to tell you who it is that I've picked out of these favorites. So I can tell you that number 10 is Lita at 12-1. Lita does make sense, actually, because they're clearly teasing Lita and Charlotte. So Lita winning the Rumble would make some sense, because then she could go to WrestleMania, and, you know, Lita's a great name to have at WrestleMania, and she could go on to face Charlotte at WrestleMania. So I've got Lita at number 10. These aren't mine. These are from Sky Bet. So these are actual odds. This is what bookies have actually got. So Lita at 10. Raquel Gonzalez at 9. Obviously, former NXT Women's Champion. She's kind of done with NXT. I think there's a really good chance that Raquel Gonzalez could be in this Royal Rumble. They don't want any NXT stars, but I think there's a chance she's done. I think she's done with NXT. I think there's every chance that she goes into this Rumble as a call-up, as being like her debut. So I don't mind Raquel Gonzalez. I don't think she wins, but don't forget last year we did have the final two be Bianca and Rhea. They were clearly investing in a new star or new stars. So Raquel could be that person this year. Next we got Nikki Bella. She's at number 8. Again, Nikki Bella, I don't think she'll win. I think that she'll have a good showing, but I don't think she'll win. I actually think what's going to happen is that the Bellas are going to get into some kind of a situation with Zelina and Carmella, and then we will build towards a women's tag team championship match, Bellas versus Queen Zelina and Carmella. I can see that happening at WrestleMania. So Queen Zelina and Carmella taking on the Bella twins. Makes a lot of sense, you know, more star power for that WrestleMania. I think any stars you can get onto that WrestleMania, it's going to be, you know, really, really important. It's 2 nights. It's, 200,000, whatever. It's a lot of people. The Bella twins taking on Carmella and Queen Zelina, I think makes perfect sense. So that's what I think will happen with Nikki. Number 7 is Paige. Paige for number 7. I don't have her being in it. I just don't, you know, her sending out a tweet saying January and putting a few teasers out there. I think if you was coming back, I just don't think you would do that. I don't think you'd do that at all. I think you'd want your surprise to be completely out the blue. So I'm not buying it. I think for that reason, I think that she's not going to be in the Royal Rumble. Number 6, Rhea Ripley. There's no word about Rhea Ripley winning a Rumble or going to WrestleMania or being in any plans. If anything, she seems to be in a little feud right now with Nikki A.S.H. So I don't see. Obviously, that feud could wrap up by WrestleMania, but I don't see it. I don't see Rhea winning it. Number 5 is Charlotte. And obviously, if Charlotte wins, she said that she's going to choose her opponent. So I suppose there's a way, you know, Charlotte could win and then she could select her opponent. That means that they can go any way they want at WrestleMania. So if Charlotte wins, you know, she could select Lita, and then that would be the same as Lita winning, you know, and we still get Charlotte versus Lita. So, rumors are that we were meant to get Sasha against Charlotte for WrestleMania this year. So what they could do is they could have Charlotte win the Royal Rumble, and then, you know, she's like, thinks about who she wants, and she's weighing up her options, and people are trying to impress her and trying to get her to choose them. And then Sasha comes back from injury, slaps Charlotte in the face or something, and boom, Charlotte screams, "I want you." And there it is, Sasha versus Charlotte. We get back on track with that match. So Charlotte winning would actually make quite a bit of sense. Number 4, Liv Morgan. I think Liv Morgan makes a lot of sense. Liv Morgan makes a lot of sense because she was like beaten down, beaten up. She was given a bit of a push. She showed that she can do some stuff. She's got good support. There's people behind her that want Liv to, you know, come through. They invest in young talent. They did last year with Bianca. They did last year with Rhea. It feels like it's Liv's time. It feels like they're starting to look at her now. She's already had some title matches. And honestly, I kind of think that by the time we get round to about, April for WrestleMania, Liv being in a title match and having all of that build and everything, I think it'd be good for her. And I think that she's got to be, well, she is one of the favorites. She's number 4 right here. Number 3 is Bianca. I don't see it being Bianca. Bianca won last year, and I can't see her winning it twice in a row. So I don't think, if someone was going to win it twice in a row, Bianca would make a lot of sense. She is a very credible Royal Rumble winner. So, but I don't think she'll win it twice in a row. Number 2 is Bayley. Bayley is the second favorite to win the Royal Rumble. I think that Bayley is someone that is very interesting, that she could come back and win it. Who would she challenge, though? Because Bayley's a heel, Becky's a heel, Charlotte's a heel. Like, I don't see Becky turning. I don't see, because she's only just turned heel. Charlotte's just a natural heel. Bayley, I wouldn't want to see her be a face. I can't see Bayley winning. I really can't see Bayley winning it. So I think she comes back in the Rumble. I don't think she wins it. And then Ricky E245 asked, what do you think about Alexa Bliss? She is the favorite to win the Royal Rumble. Alexa Bliss right now, according to Sky Bet, is favorite to win the Royal Rumble. She's not my favorite to win it. I don't think there was any plans. I mean, look, the rumors are the plans for WrestleMania were Becky versus Bianca, right? So Bianca in with a chance of winning the Rumble, and Charlotte versus Sasha. Those are the matches that were planned for WrestleMania. I don't know if we're still going to go that way. I don't know if we're still going to head towards that direction. But Becky versus Bianca, Charlotte versus Sasha, right? If Charlotte wins, she can select Sasha. If Bianca wins, she can face Becky. Like, these are the matches that are rumored to have been planned. So with all of that kind of factored in, weighed up, and worked out, I think I'm going to go with Bianca Belair. I'm going to go with Bianca because I think that I don't expect her to win twice in a row. But the fact that rumor is that she is going to be going up against Becky, or is meant to be going up against Becky, it's a feud that hasn't completed. My first reaction is she won't win twice in a row. But when you think about it, if there's anyone that could do it, it could be her, because she's the EST. So, do you know what I mean? Like, it's really hard. It's a really hard one to pick. But Bianca is the third favorite. I don't think it'll be Bayley, because she's a heel, and I don't see where she fits in. Liv, I think, would be my other pick. I think it's either Liv or Bianca. Alexa, she's just not rumored to be in the mix. I haven't heard rumors that she's going to be in it. I don't think that she's going to be. I don't think she's going to be taking on Charlotte. I don't think she's going to be taking on Becky. We don't even know what Alexa's going to quite look like when she actually has finished this journey, because Alexa right now is still doing the same gimmick as before. I don't think she's going to be doing that when she comes back. I don't think she's going to be doing that when she comes back. I think that Alexa is going to come back more like the goddess, but I think she's going to have to get into a feud or something to kind of reestablish herself. I don't think you bring her back and put her straight into a title match. So I think the reason that Alexa's favorite is because she's a massive name. She's been away for quite a while, and people are expecting her to get dropped into the title picture. But we know that the two rumored title matches, according to Meltzer, Charlotte, Sasha, Becky, Bianca. So if we're thinking that they're still going to get back to that, if we're thinking that they're still going to get round to like those matches, then for me, it's going to either be Charlotte or Bianca that wins. If you want a curveball, then potentially Liv, because I think Liv hasn't got like finished business yet. She hasn't like completed her feud with Becky, and I could see definitely something happening there. I do think that Liv at some point this year will get the women's title. I could definitely see that happening. I think they're on board with her, and I think her only problem is that Bianca is potentially a bigger star right now. No disrespect to Liv. No disrespect to Liv, right? I'm not saying that to upset Liv fans. What I'm saying is that they built Bianca up quite big last year. That WrestleMania moment, one moment of the year last year, she had that kind of title run. She's got the EST thing. She's been getting big entrances. Like they look, the difference is they invested in Bianca last year. They haven't fully yet invested in Liv. And so I think as we're getting closer towards WrestleMania, it's going to be a very, very interesting Women's Royal Rumble. My gut feeling is that like Liv stands a great chance. my head is saying Bianca. My head's saying Bianca because that is meant to be the match at WrestleMania. So, yeah, I'm torn. I mean, I am torn. I'm not going to lie. I am torn. I'm really torn between Liv and Bianca. Those are the two that I keep going back and forth on. Bianca, I think, no, because of 2 Royal Rumble wins in a row. But we've seen that happen before. No woman has done it yet. And if a woman is going to do it, Bianca would make a lot of sense. Bianca would make a lot of sense. And she's got a lot of support. She lost in 20-odd seconds. She needs to get that payback on Becky. It makes a lot of sense. So, Liv or Bianca, I'm leaning Bianca. Right, and we then go to the men's surprises. So, the men's matches apparently was going to be Brock Roman, and it was going to be Seth versus, it wasn't confirmed, Big E, Bobby, Kevin, one of those. So, we don't quite know who is meant to be facing, like, Seth for the title, or who was going to face Seth for the title. We can figure that out with Elimination Chamber, right? So, or WrestleMania Chamber, or whatever it's called. So, if Bobby is champion, then we could have Big E, Kevin Owens, Seth Rollins, Finn Balor, put them all in a chamber. Winner faces Seth. Done. That's why the winner of the Men's Rumble will be Brock Lesnar. Brock Lesnar wins the Men's Rumble. He loses to Bobby, wins the Rumble, goes on to face Roman Reigns. So now that we've revealed them all, there are... Oh, I didn't do my surprises. There are all of the predictions. So in regards to men's surprises, Corey Graves is obviously heavily rumoured. Corey Graves is heavily rumoured that he can now return back to the ring. Rob Van Dam as well. Rob Van Dam is someone that I think stands a great chance because he's a massive name. He's not been around for a good few years, Rob Van Dam. We haven't seen Rob Van Dam in quite a while in WWE, but he's available. They're making figures of him with Mattel, so he must be under some kind of merch deal. And I think there's a great chance that we see Rob Van Dam in the Men's Royal Rumble. I've got the top 10 here of winners for the Men's Royal Rumble. So we can go through this. So at number 10, Damian Priest. At number 9, The Rock. The Rock won't be in the Royal Rumble. At number 8, Kevin Owens. At number 7, Seth Rollins. At number 6, Roman Reigns. At number 5, Bobby Lashley. At number 4, Amos. At number 3, AJ. Number 2, Big E. And number 1, favorite to win the Royal Rumble, Brock Lesnar. Brock Lesnar is the favorite to win this year's Royal Rumble. Bianca Belair is the 3rd favorite. I think she might even be 2nd, because I think Alexa and Bayley are actually joint 1st. So Bianca's like 2nd or 3rd favorite. Brock is favorite to win the Royal Rumble. There's no odds, I don't think. I haven't seen any odds on Corey Graves or Rob Van Dam. We know that Bayley is one of the favorites to be in the Women's Rumble, to actually win that Women's Rumble. So Bayley is very, very high. Asuka, I haven't seen any odds on her. But those are the kind of names that I'm thinking about. It is worth mentioning as well about The Rock. I don't expect The Rock. I think The Rock, if he is going to be in a Royal Rumble, it won't be this year's, it'll be next year's. So I think it would be something along those lines. Why would Roman win the Rumble? Because thoughts are that Roman might lose to Seth, and then he jumps into the Royal Rumble and challenges Brock. Because, I mean, there's lots of different ways that you can take these stories, and there's lots of different ways that you can go. I just think that Roman's going to retain. I think he goes into WrestleMania as champion. We need to find a way of doing Brock Roman because I think that's the match they want to do. And I don't think they'll change their mind on that. I don't think we'll get anything different. I think Brock versus Roman is the match they're still going to want to do. For me, the question becomes, do you do champ versus champ? Or do you do Brock losing the title? And I think there's a way that you can do Brock losing the title with the Usos getting involved and things along those lines that keeps it nice and clean and, you know, doesn't hurt Brock. It builds up Lashley. It allows us to do Brock Roman. So, yeah, I'm thinking along those lines. So, That's what I've got below. The other things, because we are getting towards the end of these thoughts and predictions, and then we can jump into the chat and say and go through with what you lot are saying. The other things that I've got, I think there's always some feuds that come out of the Royal Rumble. There's always some moments that come out of the Royal Rumble. I think Sonya Naomi is going to rumble along, right? So Sonya Naomi, someone's going to eliminate someone. Naomi's in the Rumble. Sonya will come down and eliminate her, or something will happen. I can see them having a WrestleMania match. Bella's will go after the tag titles. I can see that happening. So Bella's getting into an altercation with Queen Zelina and Carmella, as we've already said. I could see Elias coming back. I think there's a good chance that Elias returns. We haven't seen Elias in quite a long time. I know the other one as well is that people want Rhea. The only thing is, I don't know that WWE realize or even care how over Rhea has become with the online wrestling community, right? The internet wrestling community absolutely love Rhea right now. I don't even know that Vince or anyone that works at Titan Towers are even aware of that fact. So I don't know that we get Rhea. It'd be great if we did. But, yeah, I mean, Elias is meant to, he's still be under contract, should hopefully be coming back soon. That might be something, in all fairness, they just save for a Raw or a SmackDown and don't actually put into the Royal Rumble. But imagine if we do get the new version of Elias as one of the entrants in the Royal Rumble. The other thing as well, Johnny Knoxville and Sammy, they're clearly in a little feud at the moment. I've got a feeling this is going to be this year's Bad Bunny thing. So I don't know. I don't think it'll be in Saudi Arabia, but Johnny Knoxville might stick around. And we could end up with, like, Team Jackass versus Team WWE at WrestleMania. I could definitely see something like that, because the Jackass guys, I think, will always be willing to take bumps, won't they? They'll always be willing to chuck themselves around. So, Team Jackass versus Team WWE, I could honestly see that being a WrestleMania match. So I think that will continue. And also, the other one as well, Dominic and Rey Mysterio. We've been waiting for Dominic and Rey Mysterio to do something. And I'm wondering if Dominic is going to eliminate Rey. I wonder if Rey's going to accidentally eliminate Dominic, or if there could be something along those lines. But I can definitely see something happening between Dominic and Rey Mysterio. I don't know how we get to that match, because I don't know why a father would ever want to fight his son. So Dominic's going to have to threaten the family. He's going to have to threaten his sister. He's going to have to, like, really force Rey into a situation that Rey does not want to get into. And I think that that's how we're going to get to Rey and Dominic, because there's been a lot of talk about Rey versus Dominic. And seemingly, I mean, they're not doing anything. They might as well pull the trigger on that. And I don't know if you saw, but Rey Mysterio is the cover star of WWE 2K22. So I saw that online. I think it's legit. It was from a verified account. So I believe that it's out there and it's legit. But yeah, apparently he is going to be the cover star for WWE 2K. Hollywood Guy said, "Good morning, Days. I could see Gangrel in the Rumble, and I say this because of the Edge bloodbath hints. Just saying." Potentially, yeah. I mean, I don't know where Gangrel is at the moment, or what shape is in, or anything along those lines. So I can't really comment because I don't know. I genuinely don't know. But if he's still active and healthy and willing to work with WWE, then, as you said, maybe we could get Gangrel. Hasib said, "Do you remember when Brock was in the Rumble as a champion? He was eliminated by Drew, which he won to set up a feud. So I think Charlotte could win the Rumble because Sasha's not in, so we get that at Mania," says Hasib. Let Him In said, "I would love to see a Dominic turn heel." British Soundboard Prank said, "Could Nicki Minaj enter the Rumble?" I'm not expecting Nicki Minaj to enter the Rumble, but that would be pretty wild if she did. Harley said, "Dave, someone tweeted that Meltzer said Bayley could return next month, but is most likely returning in March. Bayley replied sarcastically, saying great, because they're always right, aren't they? Isaac said, do you think Brie possibly makes a shocking return at the Rumble? No. I don't expect Brie. I think that there's probably some bad blood there. I think that WWE, I mean, it's been about 6 months. WWE parted ways with Brie. He hasn't done anything yet. Well, he's gone off to do a film. If you were going to bring him in, I suppose you could bring him in now whilst he's not with AEW or doing anything with AEW. But it really feels to me like Vince and his relationship with Brie was maybe not as strong as what you would hope it would be. I think that, from what I've heard, Vince was very open to their ideas at the start. And I don't know if Vince saw that it was working and it was being a success and then he just wanted to be a part of it and have his say or whatever. Or if it was a case that Vince didn't like the direction it was going and so Vince jumped in and took over. Either way, there was a change and Vince got on board and changed, what was happening. And I think there was a falling out, honestly. I think creatively there was a big falling out. I think that Brie was on quite a healthy contract, and I think this is all what added up to the Fiend and Bray Wyatt being released. Now, we know that Vince doesn't tend to hold grudges. There's been plenty of people that he's fallen out with that have come back, and Bray could absolutely be one of those, but it's not been that long. I don't think that there's any plans for him to be at WrestleMania. He wouldn't be coming back as like a legend, would he? He wouldn't be coming back as a pop. I think WWE probably know there'd be a bit of noise for him to maybe come back long term, but I don't know that Vince is interested. I think creatively they clashed, and Vince is probably a lot more focused on what he's doing with Brock and what he's doing with Roman, and things like that, rather than thinking of bringing back Bray. So I don't see Bray. British Soundboard Prank said, do you think WWE could be intentionally overstating the injury recovery time for Sasha, Xavier, and Drew? We usually get 4 to 6 week estimates. All could return at the Rumble. I do wonder that with Sasha, yes. I do wonder that with Sasha. I don't know if I believe the Drew one. I'm not sure. I mean, yeah, it's a really good point. The Sasha one, I do wonder if she's going to come back, win the Rumble. I mean, the bottom line is this. Charlotte versus Sasha is apparently the match penciled for WrestleMania. So if that is true, then Charlotte's winning, or Sasha's winning, or Becky's winning, or Bianca's winning. Like, it's one of them four. It's not going to be Becky unless she loses the title to Doudrop, and that makes no sense whatsoever. So I think, you get down to 3 then. You get down to Charlotte, Sasha, Bianca. And I think they'll do Charlotte against Lita, maybe in Saudi Arabia. But I don't know that they'll do Charlotte, Lita at WrestleMania. And I could see Sasha coming back and being the one to challenge Charlotte as planned. I don't think you need the Royal Rumble to set that match up, to be honest. So I'm gonna go with Bianca. I think Charlotte is in the Royal Rumble to get eliminated by Lita because they've laid the groundwork. That's going to lead to Charlotte versus Lita for the title, I think, at Saudi Arabia, right? So that's why Charlotte, I believe, is in the Royal Rumble. So it's going to lead to Charlotte Lita, I think, at Saudi Arabia. That means that the winner is going to come in the other match, because unless Sasha comes back, which she could do, I think the winner will be Becky or Bianca, and it ain't going to be Becky because I think she's going to retain the title. Hence why I think Bianca. So that's why that's why I'm thinking. I don't know that Bianca would be the person I would want to win the Royal Rumble, but she is the person I think will win the Royal Rumble. Denclip said Mustafa Ali released. Zanab, shout out to you. I think they've changed it to Charlotte Lita at Mania because Sasha won't be back until March. They announced Lita last minute for SmackDown, the first SmackDown after Sasha's injury, and heavily teased Charlotte Lita. WWE Vibes says Roman should face Brock at Mania, and if Roman wins, I want it to be clean so he looks really dominant, because I can't lie, the Usos interrupting makes him look weak. Thoughts? Roman, Brock, Mania. If Roman wins, I want it to be clean. Usos interrupting makes it look weak. Yeah, I agree. I mean, I think if we are going to get Roman against Brock, which apparently we are, then I completely agree. I also want that match to be clean. I also want that match to not have the Usos because it's just a cop-out. And I would like that match to be clean. I think the last time they faced, didn't Brock win? I think everyone was like, I can't remember what it was now. Main event of WrestleMania 34, maybe? Main event of WrestleMania 34, Roman versus Brock, and everyone thought Roman was going to win. And a lot of people were like, not bothered about this. Weren't like, just no one even really bothered about it. And Brock won, I believe. I mean, I'm really having to go back now. I know it wasn't that long ago, but I'm really having to go back in my head. So, yeah, it could be that Roman gets revenge for that. I think that, I agree. I think that the Usos interfering does make Roman look weak. Yes, I agree. Hollywood guy said, do you think Goldberg wins or is he in the Rumble? Do I think Goldberg won't win it? Goldberg won't win it. I think they know. I think the returns are diminishing for Goldberg. So I kind of feel like Goldberg is... I mean, I don't even know how many matches he's got left on his deal or even if there's a deal in place anymore. But I kind of feel like Goldberg's time is really coming towards the end. I don't know how into Goldberg Bobby people were. I don't know. You know, he used to challenge for the titles. Now, you know, he's having matches against Bobby, and it just kind of feels like we're just kind of winding him down now. Maybe he might have one more match in him, but no way is he going to be winning the Royal Rumble. And I think if he's going to have a match, if he's got one more match in him, it's hopefully just going to be a retirement thing, and that's it. And then we're done with the Goldberg story. Like, we just don't need to keep this going on, do we? We just don't need to keep this going on. I mean, a guy of his age beating up people on the current roster. Do you know what I mean? Like, he beat Bobby Lashley. It's just silly. I mean, like, here's a guy from 20-odd years ago. He's a legend, but he was a WCW legend, and he's not someone that I've ever cared about. I've never cared about Goldberg. I mean, I was never a WCW viewer. So, you know, I didn't have that kind of affection for him as a kid. To see, like, old man Goldberg, coming in and beating The Fiend and beating Bobby and getting all these title matches, it's just not right, is it? So, yeah, I'm hoping that, no, he won't win the Rumble. And I'm hoping that he literally has one more and potentially retires. Days, what about Rousey versus Lynch 2? Rousey Lynch 2 would be fun. It's a match that needs to happen. Did we ever get Rousey Lynch 1? I don't know that we ever got Rousey versus Lynch 1, to be honest. I know that they did face at WrestleMania 35, but Charlotte was in that match as well. I think that's probably the big match for Becky that people would love to see her have, but I think that WrestleMania 35, and I've said this before, I think WrestleMania 35 didn't go the way it was meant to go. I don't think that went the way it was meant to go at all. And so I think there's some bad blood between Ronda and WWE. And I think that, WWE are going to have to try and repair some bridges and get Ronda to come back to do a few matches. And I don't know. I think she's done it. I don't see her talking about wrestling or being enthusiastic about wrestling anymore or caring about wrestling. I feel like she went, gave it her best. It didn't quite work out. I think she's a little bit disillusioned about it. I think she lost WrestleMania main event, which I think probably stings for someone as proud as Ronda. I don't think it went the way it was supposed to, and I think there's been a bit of a falling out. I mean, we are, 3 years now since she was, and that happened. 3 years. She left her starter family 3 years ago. So, I don't know. I don't see it. Wrestler with Andy said, who are your dark horse picks that are not favorites but could still win? Dark horse picks. Not favorites but could still win. I mean, to be perfectly honest, I've got the top 10 in front of me for both the men and the women. And I suppose Lita would be one of the names. You could do Lita Charlotte, and I do think we will get Lita Charlotte, but I just don't think that Lita versus Charlotte will be at WrestleMania. I think that they'll do it at like the Saudi show, whatever that is. So I think that you could have Lita win, but I'm not totally sold on it. Charlotte could definitely win. She's 5th favorite. I don't know if that counts as a dark horse. I don't know when dark horses start. When do you start becoming a dark horse? Because Charlotte is 5th favorite, and I think you could make a real argument for her winning. Over on the men's side, Kevin Owens could absolutely win. He's 8th favorite, so Kevin Owens could absolutely win. I'm just going to have a look down at like the lowest ones. 250 to 1, right? So if you put £1 on and they win, you would win £250. That is Vince McMahon. He is the lowest ranked winner, potential winner, Vince McMahon. They've then got Kurt Angle at 150 to 1, Kane at 150 to 1. I know there's some people thinking that Kane could be in the Royal Rumble. Shelton Benjamin is 125 to 1, right? Johnny Knoxville has got a better chance of winning than Shelton Benjamin. The Undertaker apparently has got a better chance of winning. Stone Cold Steve Austin has got a better chance of winning than Shelton Benjamin. And Robert Roode and Cedric Alexander, all of them are tied at 125 for 1. Flipping CM Punk has got a better chance of winning than Robert Roode and Cedric Alexander. CM Punk is 100 to 1. Johnny Knoxville is 100 to 1. Shane McMahon is 100 to 1. Mustafa Ali is 80 to 1. And if he really is leaving, then I'd have to say that those odds are going to get wider. Triple H is 66 to 1. Pete Dunne is 66 to 1. Tommaso Ciampa is 50 to 1. And obviously, it's very interesting about Tommaso because he's been doing some dark matches. There's people that are thinking he might be in the Royal Rumble, but certainly doesn't look like he's going to be going in as one of the favorites. Conor McGregor is 50 to 1. Conor McGregor is 50 to 1. Volta is 33 to 1. So you put on £1. If he wins, you get £33 back. Goldberg's 25 to 1. Gable Steveson. We haven't mentioned Gable Steveson. That's a very interesting shout. Gable Steveson, 25 to 1. Bray Wyatt, 25 to 1. Finn Balor, 20 to 1. Riddle, 20 to 1. Bron Breakker, 20 to 1. Austin Theory, 20 to 1. Drew McIntyre, 16 to 1. And then we go into the top 10 that we read out earlier. So, yeah, looking at that, I think Kevin Owens potentially stands a chance. Seth Rollins potentially stands a chance. I mean, it could be that Bobby Lashley wins the title, Seth Rollins wins the Rumble. You get Bobby Lashley against Seth Rollins. The only problem with that is it's heel versus heel. So I don't know how much sense that makes. But that's the men's Royal Rumble. We can jump over to the women's Royal Rumble and see what who the outsiders are on that. That's pretty fun, isn't it? Going down and having a look and seeing who the odds are. If we go down again, the lowest ranked winner is Stephanie McMahon. Stephanie McMahon, 250 to 1. Then you've got Summer Rae, Michelle McCool, Kelly Kelly at 100 to 1. Indy Hartwell at 80 to 1. Zoe Stark, 66 to 1. Xia Li at 50 to 1. Dakota Kai at 50 to 1. Trish at 40 to 1. Kaylee Ray at 40 to 1. Doudrop 33 to 1. Mickie James at 33 to 1. Becky Lynch at 20-1. Asuka 20-1. Sonya Deville 16-1. Shotzi 16-1. Naomi 16-1. Ronda Rousey 14-1. That's quite low, you know. That's quite low. Ronda Rousey 14-1. I suppose the thinking with Ronda is that she's a big name. She's a big star. WrestleMania needs that help. And I suppose that's the thinking, that Ronda Rousey might be in it. I mean, look, I'm totally down for a Ronda Rousey return. It's just, if it's going to happen, it's going to be a big, big surprise, because she has not spoke about WWE or professional wrestling at all. Like, it just seems like she's just not interested anymore. So I'm totally down for Ronda Rousey being in the Royal Rumble. I've got no problem with that whatsoever. Lita is 12-1. Oh yeah, we read all these. Liv Morgan 5-1. Bianca 9-2. Bayley 4-1. Alexa 4-1. Alexa and Bayley are joint favorites. Zanab said Dean Ambrose return. What do you think? No, and no one that's with AEW. Mr. Savior Time said they could bring back the Universal Championship to Raw and the WWE title to SmackDown if Roman loses to Seth. Thoughts? If Roman loses to Seth, then the Universal goes over to Raw. Brock then brings the WWE to SmackDown. You could do that. Yep, you could do that. You could do that. I mean, for me, it's a bit messy because I think you'd have to change the belt back to red again, which, you know, isn't the biggest problem in the world. But I think one of the biggest problems is Seth beating Roman. This version of Seth beating Roman, I feel like whoever beats Roman is going to get a really big push, and it's going to be a really big moment, and it feels like it should happen at about WrestleMania or something like that. Like, the big talking point at the Royal Rumble is going to be the Royal Rumbles, and it's going to be the surprises, and it's going to be the winner of the Rumble. I don't think this is the right show for Seth to beat Roman. I don't think this is the right show for Roman to lose, because Roman losing here would be kind of lost in the shuffle a little bit. I think when Roman loses, it needs to be the big news. It needs to be the main story. It won't be here. It'll be one of, but so will the surprises. So will the Rumble winners. So, yeah, you could go that way. You could switch the belts around, put the Universal on back to Raw, put the WWE back on SmackDown, but you don't have to go that way. And as I said, I wouldn't have Seth beating Roman. I don't think Seth is the one. He might be the one if he was face and this had been built up better. But this really feels like it's just thrown together because we need a credible opponent for Roman. That's how it comes across to me. Hasib said, do you think Edge and Beth still enter the Rumble even though they are wrestling on the show? Edge, I'm not sure will. I mean, he won it last year. I don't think he needs to be in the Rumble again this year. He's already on the show anyway, so I don't think Edge will. Beth might. They do need women, and apparently they're trying to not use NXT stars. So if they do need someone, then they could always turn to Beth and MARYSE. But I think the reason they went and got Mickie James, and the reason they got the Bellas, and the reason they got Michelle McCool is because they're trying to maybe not use NXT and not use the women that are already booked on the show anyway. Hazard Talks Footy said, one name that's under the radar regarding the Rumble is last year's winner, Edge. As the rumours at Mania is Edge AJ, it could be for the title. Thoughts? I don't see it. I mean, if Edge wins the Rumble, he would face the champion at WrestleMania, so you'd have to get the belt onto AJ. I think Edge versus AJ makes sense, but I don't think you need the belt involved in that. Edge versus AJ is just a great feud, just like Edge versus Seth was. So Edge AJ, I'm totally down for it, but I stand by you. I don't think you need the title to be involved in that. I think the plan, I think, was that Seth would go into WrestleMania as champion, and he would defend against Big E or Bobby or Kevin Owens or someone along those lines. Dizzle Dog said, whoever wins the Rumble needs to be someone that isn't in the title picture but should be at this point. Final Region said, what's your opinion on RK Bro and Alpha Academy? I think RK Bro have run their course. I think Riddle has run his course. I think Riddle has got potential to entertain. Like when he dressed up like Randy Orton, I thought he did. I thought that was quite funny. But more often than not, I must admit, his comedy falls short. His comedy, I don't know if it's the delivery. I don't know if it's just bad. I don't know. Just doesn't grab me. Maybe I'm not the target audience. Maybe there's kids that just absolutely love it. But I enjoyed Riddle with this kind of character. This kind of airhead kind of, hey, Randy, what do you think? Like, at first it was like, yeah, this is pretty fun. It's different. Like, they're giving him something to get his teeth into. But it's never changed or evolved, and more weeks than not, it's not found its mark for me. So, I don't know. I think we're definitely build into Riddle versus Randy Orton. And I could see that match being at WrestleMania. I could definitely see that happening. So I don't see much of a future for RK Bro. Alpha Academy, have they just won the belts? I think they've just won the belts, haven't they? So, I mean, I must admit, I don't mind Alpha Academy. I really like Chad Gable. He used to be in American Alpha with Jason Jordan. And they were, no word of a lie, one of the best tag teams in NXT history. Like, what they did in NXT was absolutely brilliant. Like, I really, really enjoyed American Alpha. They were such a great team. And so I got a lot of love for him. Obviously, Otis was in Heavy Machinery. I wasn't as crazy about Heavy Machinery, but I do think Otis is entertaining. He's legit as well, you know, with this heel turn of his. Like, he's quite moody and serious, and I'm into it. I prefer this to him doing that caterpillar and whatever, but I did like him when he was like, oh yeah, and all that. Like, it was pretty fun. So, I don't know. I don't mind Alpha Academy. I think there's stuff you can do with them. I'd like them to invest in them more. I'd like to see some vignettes with Alpha Academy. I'd like to see, like, you know, some character development with Alpha Academy. Yeah, I'd like to see some vignettes or something, but we don't tend to get anything, do we? It's literally just they come out, and if you care about them, you care about them. If you don't, you don't. Simple as that. So, I kind of... yeah, I don't mind them. I think we just need to do a bit more work with them because at the moment they don't really feel big time, even though they are the tag team champs. Hammer Studio said if Drew wasn't injured, I bet he would challenge Brock for the United States Championship. Jason Jordan is attempting a comeback. He would be a nice surprise. He would be a nice surprise. You are right. He would be a nice surprise. If we could get Jason Jordan back, that would be a lot of fun. He's a great wrestler. He comes across like a really great guy as well. And crazy to think they were doing that storyline of him being Kurt Angle's son. Yeah, I mean, that was... God, when was that? Was that like 2018 now? Maybe even before that. Hey, what was the world like before the pandemic, eh? Crazy. So, yeah. And then, obviously, you know, he got injured and... really thought he was going to come back at some point. I mean, obviously not looking great, and he's been gone for a number of years now. But, man, I tell you, I would pop hard if we got an American Alpha reunion. That would be class. That would be really cool. Rest of the days, we need to talk about Eva Marie. Her Instagram bio says WWE Superstar Evolution. So she may return, but when she got released, she removed it. But under a month ago, she put it back, says Den Clips. I wouldn't read anything into it, but she's been in very recently, and nothing, like, you know, the run was very underwhelming. She ended up getting legitimately released. So I don't think she's going to come back now. And I wouldn't be basing that on a Twitter bio. You know, you've got to remember that some of these superstars that get released, they try to, like, they're a brand. So, you know, her being former WWE superstar, being part of the evolution and all that kind of stuff, it's probably just good for her brand that she's, like, connected with WWE, you know? She is Eva Marie, and, you know, anyone that's interested in working with her, you know, it's worth them knowing that she is a former WWE superstar. I mean, sure, it might be better to put that in your bio rather than just leaving up whatever it said before, but... It's more than likely to be something like that than it is a hint that she's coming back anytime soon, because her last run was so underwhelming. If it had been anything special, they would never have released her in the first place. So I don't see it. But do you think Scotty 2 Hottie enters the Rumble? I mean, honestly, there's a lot of people that could enter the Rumble that are around that kind of thing. You know, I mean, Rob Van Dam, Santino Marella, the Hurricane, Papa Shango, like those kind of mid-card old school names. There's tons of them. I mean, X-Pac is someone that's heavily rumored because apparently he's been cleared to compete now. I've gone with Rob Van Dam because I know they're releasing figures of him, and I know that he's free at the moment, and he was a big star as well. Rob Van Dam, people, you know, the music's great. People, you know, I think there'd be a nice pop for Rob Van Dam coming back. So I've gone with RVD, but honestly, you could swap that out for about 1 billion other people that it could be that are like just old school mid-carders. I mean, don't forget, in recent years, we had MVP come back, didn't we? Do you remember MVP came back at a Royal Rumble? And I think, wasn't it the next night on Raw, he had his farewell match against Rey Mysterio. And that was it. He was meant to be done. And then he must have got talking to people backstage, and they brought him back as like what he is now, this kind of manager. He was a wrestler manager, wasn't he, really, when he came back? And then they put him with Bobby. And, you know, that all came because of MVP coming back at a Royal Rumble. I think, was it the year before that we had Jeff Jarrett? Jeff Jarrett came back and had a little feud with Elias. So Jeff Jarrett came back with his guitar. And, you know, you've got Elias, who's obviously had that guitar gimmick as well. And they had a little feud as well. So, yeah, there was, you know, those kinds of mid-carders, dare I say, you know. There's quite a few of those that it could be. Days, if Drew does come back in time, who do you think he will face at Mania? I'm thinking Cena, but I don't even know if he will be there. I don't know who it might be other than boring Corbin. Well, yeah, I mean, hard to say, isn't it, really? Because Drew feels like, since they gave him that stupid sword, it feels like he's lost his momentum. I don't know. I mean, like, when he was WWE champion, he had the belt. He didn't have the sword. And since, like, he lost the belt and it's like he needs something to carry around, they've given him that sword, and it's just so silly. I think it's more cringe than anything else because, you know, you've got grown men like Shanky and Jinder that are like scared that they're going to get decapitated by, I mean, like, fun fact, Drew ain't going to decapitate anyone on flipping network television. He's probably not going to decapitate anyone anywhere, right? So it's just, it comes across as silly. And I think that hurts his character. So, I don't know, he doesn't, Drew definitely is someone that I thought they were going to like build back up again, and we were going to get Drew versus Roman. I just wonder if maybe some of the numbers are showing that, you know, he's not really connecting with people again. But that's not Drew's fault. That's WWE's fault. They're presenting him like an absolute douche. So we need to change course with Drew a little bit. But it makes it very hard to know what they're going to do with him. I mean, you know, could it be him against Nakamura for the mid-card title? I mean, that might not be the worst. Nakamura's the Intercontinental Champion. You could maybe do him against Drew. You know, they both, you know, the Intercontinental belt deserves a big spotlight on it. And I think putting Drew in an Intercontinental match would do that. When you see how small SmackDown's roster is, we're seeing guys like Angel, Humberto, Mansoor, Ricochet getting featured more. This was his best chance to find a role on TV. Do you agree? Who are we talking about? We're talking about Drew. When you see how small SmackDown's roster is, this was the best chance to find a role on TV. I don't know who we're talking about. If we are talking about Drew, he's got a role. You know, he still gets used quite well. It's not like we don't see him. Obviously, he's just been feuding with Corbin and Madcap Moss and whatever. But, yeah, I mean, like, he's been fairly regular on TV. He's not someone that's been stuck in catering. It's just what they've used him for has been pretty rubbish, to be honest. Perfect Q said, I just happened to watch my DVR of Raw this past week, and that Alexa Bliss segment was horrible. Real therapy is watching another wrestling show, says Perfect Q. Hollywood Guy said, Days, rumor has it that Elias could be the new Fiend. What do you think? I don't believe it. I don't know where that rumor's come from, but I can't say that I've seen any word on that. What I've heard about Elias was that they were going to have him in quite colourful attire. He was going to come out really colourful, but because of how he looks and because of his facial hair and because of the colourful ring attire, he actually looked like Macho Man Randy Savage. So they had to go back to the drawing boards. So that's the last I heard. And they are trying to find him something else to do. Maybe the Fiend rumors came from those vignettes when he was like burying his old gimmick. But rumors were that he was going to be coming back in bright colors. So I'm not expecting him to come back like the Fiends. Days, I feel like we won't get Sammy Knoxville at Mania because Sammy is #1 contender for the IC Championship, and I think he'll win it, says Harley. Phoenix said, who is the better wrestler between Batista and Goldberg? Batista. Mr. Savior Time said, Seth teamed up with Big E and Kofi to defeat Roman and the Usos at a live event. Does this mean that Seth turned face? He also teamed up with the Viking Raiders to beat the Bloodline after SmackDown. I mean, Seth doesn't come across as face to me on TV, and the way that he was in the ring and his interaction with Roman. I mean, I think they are going to have to try and move Seth towards being a face because heel versus heel is a tough sell. But there was more cheers for Roman than there was for Seth in that segment on SmackDown. And I must admit, like, the way that he comes down and he cackles and all of that, there hasn't been anything yet to suggest that he's turned face. And I really wouldn't be looking at live shows because obviously we don't get visibility on live shows. They just play out in arenas. So you just have to have a look and see what's happening on the TV show. I mean, literally look at the TV show and how's he being presented? How's he coming across? I suppose in a way, I can't remember him doing anything overly heelish in that promo. I can't remember him being too nasty or anything. But equally, I can't say there was anything he did that made him a face. Do you know what I mean? Like, he came down, he still walked the same way, he still cackled the same way, he still dressed the same way. His presentation still struck me as being the exact same as it has been in recent weeks. So, but I don't dispute that they could potentially be looking at ways to move him towards being a face, because heel versus heel it doesn't make any sense. Heel versus heel doesn't make any it never does. I mean, you can get away with face versus face, but heel versus heel kind of leaves the crowd going, who am I meant to cheer for? Both of them call me out and say that I'm an awful person or I'm overweight or whatever. So why am I meant to care about this match? So, I wouldn't be surprised if they did move Seth towards being a face a little bit. Days, the rumors are Seth takes a championship from Brock next month at the Saudi show. Michael said, John Cena return. Thoughts? Not at the Rumble. I think he's a busy boy, man, so I don't see him being at the Rumble. I heard in an interview that the door's not closed between him and WWE, but he just doesn't know when he's going to be able to appear again. There's some projects coming up that he's quite excited about, so I don't know. It's just really difficult with Cena, isn't it? Because without knowing what his schedule's like or what film offers are coming in, but I mean, he's got this Peacemaker thing that I think is going to do well for him. And got to think that there's going to be plenty of scripts coming his way. So, I don't know. I think they would love to have him at WrestleMania. If there's a way they can get him there, I think they absolutely would. I'm not expecting him at the Rumble. I don't expect him at the Rumble, but I think that they will try really hard to get him at Mania. Even if it's not in a match and it's just a little segment, I think they'll really try to do that. The rumors are that Doink is going to win the Universal Championship. I can believe that. I think Alexa is going to win the Women's Royal Rumble, said Alexa Bliss Gamer. She is actually joint favourite with Bayley, yes. John Cena could go in the Hall of Fame. He absolutely will. Do you think Braun could go to AEW, or is he too old? I don't think he's too old. He's got a great size to him, but I think part of the problem was he's never been a great promo. And actual work in ring, I mean, like, he's always come across as a bit limited. Like, I don't mean that as disrespectful, but, you know, he's not someone that's like an in-ring technician. He's a bodybuilder. That's what he is. You know, he's a bodybuilder. He's a strongman. And he got into wrestling because they liked the size of him. They got him to do what they needed him to do. I thought he was very good in the Wyatt family. He'd be great in something like House of Black. Imagine Braun in the House of Black. Like, that would be brilliant. That'd be a great way to use him. Just have him as, like, silent, moody, just goes in, gets the job done. A little bit like Hook, really. So, goes in, lays it in hard, doesn't stick around for long, gets the job done, gets out of there. Like, that's how you could present Braun. But I think, you know, him talking or being presented the way he was towards the end of his WWE run, it wasn't working, was it? It never worked. Like, I mean, we went from him being in a black sheep's mask, being this terrifying large member of the Wyatt family, this gift from Sister Abigail to Brie. We kind of went from that to him running around the edge of the ring with choo-choo noises. Like, it was quite the change. So I think, no, you could definitely do something with him, but I think you're very limited with what you can do with him. I'm interested to see how WWE will fill 2 nights of Mania. It's going to be interesting for sure, but I see Rollins and Reigns as WWE Champion and Universal Champion going into WrestleMania, says Harry. Ricochet is going to have a massive bump at the Rumble. Greatest seller known to man, said WWE Vibes. Bunker says, why have the title on Brock just to lose it at the Rumble? It doesn't make any sense. Well, the reason why is because, first of all, he was not meant to win it in the first place. But it's a nice little bump, and it's given Raw a little bump as well because it's meant that Brock's been over there. But now what you can do, as we said, is you could have Lashley win, but thanks to the Usos. So again, it ties into the Roman story as we build towards Roman and Brock. So Brock winning a title that, you know, he was never meant to win. He was never meant to be in that match. It allows the Usos and Roman to take something away from him, cheat him out of something, which is only going to add fuel to the fire between Brock and Roman. The rumors are that Brock Roman is what they want to do at WrestleMania. So, you know, you could have the Usos cheat Brock. It's a great win for Lashley as well. Like, we spoke about it earlier. I think there's quite a few positives that could come out of a Lashley win over Lesnar. I mean, I do understand that, like, a short title reign of about a month is certainly not to my taste. But I can also see the sense of it when you're building towards this massive WrestleMania, and it would just be, you know, part of the story. And as we said earlier, you know, did Paul know that the Usos were going to interfere? Is Paul working with Roman still? Can Brock trust him? Like, all these little wrinkles just make the story, like, really interesting. Cameron said, what match would you book for Volta's first Mania? Oh, I would have him squash someone. I mean, it doesn't really matter. Someone that he can just squash. Madcap Moss, anyone, don't care. I think that on a platform of that size, on a stage of that size, you want him to put in an amazing performance, and you want him to look absolutely dominant. So I would have him absolutely destroy someone at his first Mania. I know that, like, you know, you want him to have, like, great matches and all of that, but I mean that can come down the road. You've got to remember, a lot of casuals will tune into WrestleMania that don't watch wrestling any other show. So their only interaction with wrestling might be just once a year. So if you want to get Volta in front of them and show them this absolute monster, then, that's a great way to do it, isn't it? Do it at WrestleMania, have him squash someone, make him look incredible, like the next big thing, and, get some excitement going, get some people excited about Volta. I mean, you could have a real back and forth, like, him against Sammy, would be amazing, and it'd be an incredible wrestling match. I wouldn't have a problem with that match, but I just, for his first WrestleMania, I would have him destroy someone. Wasn't it King Kong Bundy against ST Jones at WrestleMania 1? And I think ST Jones was meant to lose in about 9 seconds, and he wasn't happy about that. So he took a little bit longer. It ended after 27 seconds or something. But ST Jones was just a jobber. He was someone that was a guy that would put others over, and they actually put him on WrestleMania so that he could make King Kong Bundy look legit. Fast forward a year, main event of WrestleMania 2 is Hogan against Bundy inside a steel cage. So I kind of think like maybe something similar with Volta. Have Volta look like this legit monster. Have him squash someone. No, I wouldn't do it in 20-odd seconds because I don't think that's going to look great, but he could really show off his power, his dominance. It really, with Volta, like the entrance is a large part of it, isn't it? And he comes down, lays in those chops, and all of this, gets like a big win on that WrestleMania stage, and boom, we're up and running. But if you wanted him to have like a great actual contest, then him against Cesaro, him against Sammy, him against AJ, him against Seth. I mean, there's loads of great matches for Volta on the main roster. Delmar said most of the guys on Mustafa Ali's level, like Angel, Humberto, Ricochet on SmackDown, are getting TV. There was no better time for Ali to get a spot on TV. Got you. The problem with Ali was that we couldn't find anything for him. I mean, he had Retribution, and it sucked, and we all knew it sucked. And in all fairness to him, he gave his best. I mean, no one can blame Ali for that failing. He gave his absolute all to that. I actually thought you could have done something with Ali. He was like a Chicago cop, and I thought there might have been something there. He did some brilliant promos outside. I remember him being out, and it was, raining, and he was just talking to the camera, had a bit of, blurry background, but he was outside, and he was doing these promos, and they were brilliant. They were absolutely brilliant. And I kind of felt like that was the most engaged I was with him. Do you remember when he first used to start, and he had the mask and everything? I wasn't into that. I wasn't into the light-up mask and all of that kind of stuff. I wanted him to kind of move away from that, but I mean, the stuff they had for him was just stupid. I mean, he went into Retribution, and he was stuck with that for a long time. Then he went into a pointless tag match and tag work with Mansoor, and there was just a lot of stupidness that he had to go through. I feel really sorry for him. If he has asked for his release, as is being reported, and it's legit and it's serious, and he really is looking to leave, then I wish him nothing but the best. Who do you think will win the Rumble if Roman and Brock both retain the titles? Who do I think wins the Rumble if Brock and Roman both retain? If Brock and Roman both retain, then I think they're on a collision course. So then our attention would have to turn to the other title or the other show. But that would be Brock's, wouldn't it? I suppose. It's tricky. If Brock and Roman both retain, in all fairness, we've still got other shows to go. So there's nothing to stop Brock losing at Saudi. Do you know what I mean? So even if they both retain, I mean, you could still have Seth win the Rumble. Seth could win the Rumble. Big E could beat Brock in Saudi. Usos could cost him the match, and then you get Seth versus Big E at WrestleMania. You get Brock versus Roman. There's so many different ways that you can go, but I would say that Seth has got to be in with a chance. Kevin Owens has got to be in with a chance. Big E has got to be in with a chance. So those would be the names that I'd be thinking. If both Roman and Brock retain, then Kevin, Seth, Big E. That's what I'd be thinking. Do you think Brock costs Roman his title at the Rumble to make their feud more heated? Have the match for Mania WWE title on SmackDown while SETH takes the Universal to Raw? No. I think that's too convoluted. I think there's too much. It's messy and it doesn't need to be that messy. I kind of think, like, why not have Roman cost Brock his title and then have Brock go after the Universal, which then can just stay on SmackDown and we don't have to move the belts. Like, moving the belts is an interesting thought because it's something they can do, but they don't have to do it. Like, there's not really a benefit to doing it. There's not a purpose to doing it. Like, why not have Roman win, which is better because Roman hasn't been beaten, like, since he came back. So, like, Roman losing is a really significant thing. So, I wouldn't have Roman lose. And then you've got Lesnar, Lashley. I think Lashley can win thanks to the Usos or thanks to Roman interfering. And then, you know, boom, there you go. You've got Brock versus Roman for the title. It can stay on SmackDown. Don't need to be moving belts around. That kind of works a little better for me, I think. Seth, that's what I want. Or Finn Balor. Francisco said, do you think Brock will win Roman at WrestleMania for the Universal? Now that is hard to call, isn't it? That is hard to call. I really hope not. I really hope not. Because I don't want Roman, who's been undefeated all this time, to finally lose to the hands of Brock Lesnar. I don't want that. I want it to be that we build up a new star. I want it to be that someone new is going to benefit. And I don't really see the benefit in it being Brock because Brock cannot be any bigger than what he is now. If Brock beats Roman, he doesn't become a bigger star. So that's why I'm not a fan of it. That's why that's not the direction that I would personally go. I am worried that they're going to go that way, but it's not the direction that I would. It's not the direction that I would want to go. Days, just simply, they should unify the belts like Brock suggested. I think they'll just go that way. What do you do then about the two shows and only having one champion? That would then mean you have to have one champion work two shows. And I don't know if that's the right thing to do. You know, don't forget when they only had one belt, there wasn't a brand split. Now there's a brand split. You know, you've got Raw, you've got SmackDown. What are you going to do if you've just got the one champion? I mean, you know, I don't hate the idea because I prefer one champion, but I just think logistically, USA aren't going to want that, and Fox aren't going to want that. Fox are going to want to be the home of the champion, and USA are going to want to be the home of the champion. And having one champion that bounces across two shows, just from a logistics point of view, with all the challengers that there's going to be now, you know, because you're going to have number one contenders on Raw, you're going to have number one contenders on SmackDown. I don't know. Could they do it? Sure. There's nothing stopping them do it, but it's not the way that I would go. Days Paddy Pimlet has confirmed he'll be on the March 19th card in London. I can't wait to be at the O2 Arena on that night, says your lizards. Shout out to you. Roman says, would slap Lesnar so hard he will be going back to being a butcher. Chalmers said they have both champions on the same show almost all the time nowadays. Leeds said, why don't they do Bron Breakker versus Roman versus Brock at Survivor Series? Little way off from Survivor Series. They don't tend to have NXT involved, to be honest, because they did it a little while ago and it was fine. But I think Vince doesn't even want NXT to be involved in these Royal Rumbles. So I think, it's something that could happen and in the future or happen again one day, but just doesn't seem to be a direction that Vince wants to go in at the moment. Could an NXT wrestler win the Rumble and we get an NXT title match at Mania? No, apparently Vince doesn't want NXT stars in the Rumble. There might be the odd one, but I don't see it. I don't see it happening. I mean, could you get an NXT title match at Mania? Maybe. They might want to try and use the cards and put Bron Breakker on to defend the NXT title as a little showcase thing. Maybe. But they wouldn't use something as big as the Royal Rumble to be promoting that. So I don't see NXT star winning the Rumble. Do you think we could see Mickie James as Impact Wrestling Knockout Champion and Raw or SmackDown Women's Champion? I would like to see that. I don't think so. I think she's literally just in it as a legend to kind of fill out the Rumble. Reports are that, for WrestleMania, they wanted to do Charlotte against Sasha. They wanted to do Becky versus Bianca. There's nothing to suggest that Mickey's in any plans for anything other than a one-off appearance. So I think it's just a one-off appearance. I also think that, to Vince will always take an opportunity to embarrass other promotions. Or, I think with Mickie, she'll probably just get, not much of a spotlight during the Rumble. She'll come down. She'll maybe have a nice little moment during her couple of minutes, but a few moments later, I'd imagine she'll get eliminated quite quietly. It's just, she'll be there for the pop. She'll come down. I'm not expecting her to have her Impact Championship. Although there is talk she might come out to her Impact music. That might be something they've agreed upon. But I can't see her coming out with the Impact belt. I can't see him wanting to promote that at all. I mean, she's not got the Impact belt in any of the promotional pictures. So I don't think they'll do that. Do you think Garrett Bischoff debut in WWE? Garrett Bischoff? Who's Garrett Bischoff? Is that like Eric Bischoff's son? JNN said, Days, talk about it. Bobby Lashley, title, Amos, Rumble winner, main event night 2. Get the WWE good press. 2 black wrestlers, main event in WrestleMania for the first time. I mean, I think Amos is too green. I don't see them pushing him towards a title anytime soon. I think he'll have a feud and they'll do something with him. But, I mean, it's a shame because Amos would have been an interesting opponent for maybe an Undertaker or something like that. But I don't think they'll put him towards the title. I mean, again, the rumors were that it would be Brock Roman or Seth versus Big E or Seth versus Bobby or Seth versus Kevin. Seth was meant to go in with the belt. So, again, nothing to suggest that Amos is in the thinking for being in the title. I mean, obviously, I've got no problem with WWE having 2 black superstars main event in WrestleMania for the first time. I think that'd be great. I don't know that I would be selecting Amos as one of them, though. I mean, he just looks so green in the ring. Bobby Lashley and Big E, yeah. I mean, that's probably the better way to go, isn't it? So you could still get that promotion, and you could still get that press, and you don't need to have Amos involved. Gooner Kid said Bella Twins will lose the Rumble, guaranteed. Robin said Bianca Sasha were 2 black wrestlers that main evented Mania. Bianca won't win 2 years in a row, says Zap Man City fan. Yeah, that's the only thing that makes me think it might not be her. But she's my pick because she is meant to be taking on Becky at WrestleMania. Charlotte Sasha is the other one. So Charlotte could win. But Charlotte's won the Rumble before as well. So Charlotte could win. The other thing as well is, I said earlier, if there is someone that's going to win the Rumble 2 years in a row, I really think Bianca could be that person because she is the EST. She is very athletic. They have positioned her to be a big star, and she has got unfinished business with Becky, and I think that there's a chance. I don't know how confident I am in Bianca, but I wouldn't. It's not a hill that I'm willing to die on. But there's a lot of logic and reason as to why it makes sense for it to be Bianca. Brian said Corey Graves as GM of Raw and David Otunga as GM of SmackDown. MARYSE says, do you think Becky and Charlotte both lose the titles at WrestleMania? I could see Bianca winning the belt. I think Bianca definitely deserves to win it back from Becky after the 20-odd seconds thing. Plus, also, it will be 3 years, really, since, Becky claims to have won that belt at WrestleMania 35, which is true, because then she had to give it up at WrestleMania, well, just after WrestleMania 36, before Money in the Bank, or just after Money in the Bank. And then, obviously, she came back, won it. I mean, she'd been gone for a while, of course. But technically, I mean, she's never been beat. She won that belt at 35 in that match against Ronda and Charlotte. She never got beat for it. She then went away to be a mom, came back, won the title back. She's still got it now. Like, losing it at WrestleMania would make sense, because it would be 3 years, wouldn't it, since she won it. And with, what was the other one? Charlotte against Sasha. Charlotte's maybe the one I could see holding on to it. Charlotte's the one that I could see, Charlotte against Sasha. I don't know that we need Sasha winning, to be honest. I know there's a lot of Sasha fans, and I don't know what's happening with The Mandalorian. Part of the reason why I think Sasha might be in that position is she in The Mandalorian? Is there a new season of Mandalorian? I've seen loads of pictures of her dressed up, so she might be filming something. I don't know, but there could be some real press around Sasha. So maybe they put the belt on her for that reason. But I would feel more confident that Becky loses than Charlotte. Michael said, who do you think will be the surprise entrance in the Men's Royal Rumble? I've got Corey Graves, because apparently he's been cleared. And I've got Rob Van Dam. Reason why I've got Rob Van Dam is because he was quite a big star back in the day. He hasn't been in WWE for quite a while. I believe he is free now and would be able to come down. He's got great music as well. There'd be a guaranteed pop. And I think that would make a lot of sense. I don't know. I think there's a few surprises potentially for the men's. Elias stands a chance of being in the men's as well, as we said. But I'm not expecting The Rock or John Cena or any of those massive names. I'm not expecting Batista. I'm not expecting Triple H. I'm not expecting anyone like that. I think it's going to be Corey, Rob Van Dam, and I think the big one will be Brock. If Brock loses to Lashley, then jumps into the Rumble, and then I could see him winning the Rumble, and I think that will be the big talking point. Denclip said, if X-Pac returns full-time, who do you think he will have a feud with going into WrestleMania? I don't know that he would, to be honest. If X-Pac comes back, I could see him being in the WrestleMania Battle Royal. Or if they do some sort of ladder match or something, then I don't know. I mean, it's hard, isn't it? Because he's apparently cleared to compete, but I don't know what shape he's in. I'd need to have a look at seeing how he worked and getting a read of it, because he might, even though he's cleared, he still might not move brilliant. Still might not be, he ain't going to be the X-Pac that we know from the mid-90s. So, mid to late 90s. So, I kind of think it's hard, isn't it? It's really hard to say, oh, it'll be this person, it'll be that person. I mean, it could be that he comes into the Rumble and just has a one-off appearance. I mean, just because he's cleared to compete, again, might not mean that they've got any creative plans to have him stick around. The only thing I would say is when they've had MVP come back, he stuck around, but he did stick around as a manager more than a wrestler. Jeff Jarrett came in and he did a match against Elias. That kind of booked itself. So, they could have X-Pac come back and then do a match on Raw, but I think a feud going all the way to WrestleMania, I don't see that. If he was going to be at WrestleMania, I think it'd be in the Battle Royal. Days were so lucky there's not a UFC on the same weekend. Tell me about it. Armani Sampson said, I'm expecting The Undertaker. What do you think will be the main event for the Rumble? I think it'll be the Men's Royal Rumble. I think the Men's Royal Rumble will main event. We might start with the women's, or I think what they've done before is they've done the women's matches, the women's title matches. So it might be Edge and Beth versus Miz and Maryse. Then we get Becky versus Doudrop. Then we get the Women's Rumble. Then we go into the men's matches. So it'll be Roman, Seth, Lesnar versus Lashley. Then we go into the men's Rumble. So something along those lines. Naomi wins the Rumble, and then we get Naomi versus Sonya at Saudi, said Bonkers. Michael said, what do you think will happen with Jeff Hardy? Don't know. I mean, apparently he's going off to do an acoustic tour, isn't he? So apparently he's going off to, I don't know, play guitar and do an acoustic tour. So I'm not really expecting too much from Jeff Hardy, to be honest. I'm certainly not expecting him in the Royal Rumble. Do you think KSI and Logan Paul will come to WWE? No. They might. I mean, well, they could do something in regards to promoting their new drink or something, but I don't expect them to have a match or anything like that. Do you think it's possible both Bianca and Naomi go over the top and we have a double winner? Yeah, it's possible. I don't expect it, of course, but it's possible. I mean, like, the thing is, though, I don't see Naomi going for a title. I think Naomi is in a feud with Sonya, and I can understand the idea of, okay, we'll do the match at Saudi and then she can go on to the title, but don't know. I'm not quite convinced that she's quite in their plans for that yet. I think they tried to find something for Naomi to do, and that is this Sonya feud, but I don't know that it's meant to lead to a title, if that makes sense. Again, I am very stuck on Dave Meltzer's rumors, if you will, report that WrestleMania was meant to be Becky, Bianca, Charlotte, Sasha. So I keep coming back to that, because if that's the plan, or if that was the plan, like, there's no Amos that's in there. There's no Naomi that's factored in there. There's no Liv, unfortunately, that's factored in there. So, you know, that's kind of my template. That's what I'm using. That's why I'm thinking that Brock wins, because that gets us to Brock versus Roman. And that's why I'm thinking Bianca wins, because that gets us to Becky versus Bianca. Richard said, Lashley, and Richard, shout out to you, dude. Really appreciate the support. We're going to stick around about 7 more minutes, by the way. We will have done amazingly, and I can't believe it, we will have done 2 hours. 2 hours. So we'll stick around for another 7 to 10 minutes or so. Get in your final thoughts. Richard said, Lashley will beat Brock. Roman will beat Rollins. And I think Austin Theory wins the Rumble. And then at Mania, you get Lesnar versus Roman and Theory versus Lashley. Richard, shout out to you. So, Richard, with a real curveball, thinking that it's going to be a case that Austin Theory is going to be winning the Royal Rumble. Steve said, Roman said on SmackDown that Seth on SmackDown, they're main eventing, so I don't think Roman would be in the Rumble if he loses. Days, I know a surprise you would love, Pat. I would love that. I would absolutely love that. I mean, he is maybe the greatest of all time. First ever Intercontinental Champion. Obviously, it's not going to happen because he's sadly passed away now, but you know, he is someone that I think he was basically Vince's right-hand man, wasn't he? Helped write the shows and did a lot for WWE. Big loss, and you know, someone that you can jump on the network and watch in Legends House. So you're absolutely right. Harley knows me very, very well. Very, very well. I would indeed love Pat Patterson to be in the Royal Rumble. But as we said, there's no way the first ever Intercontinental Champion can take part, because unfortunately he did pass away. And they gave him quite the send-off as well, didn't they? He actually had like all the superstars on stage and the graphic, and you know, sometimes you don't even know if they're going to put the little graphic at the start of the show. But he got a proper send-off. Do you still watch NWA Power? I don't. No, I don't. Nothing against them. It's just that when they went behind that kind of paywall, the demand for it just went away, basically. And I think, honestly, they felt it as well, which is why they're jumping back onto YouTube, which, you know, I really do wish them all the best with that. J14 said, are you excited for a new wrestling game called The Wrestling Code? Never heard of it, but what's that on? David Robert Wood said Lita wins the Rumble. She said she's got one more. She wins the Rumble. Your thoughts? I don't think she does. I think she's, according to the bookmakers, she's the 10th favorite. I do think that she will face Charlotte. I think they've planted those seeds, but I think actually she's going to eliminate Charlotte. And I think that as a result of her eliminating Charlotte, Charlotte's going to be fixated on her, and we end up getting a match at Saudi Arabia between Lita and Charlotte. And that's going to just buy us a bit of time until Sasha returns. And then the rumor is we get Charlotte-Sasha at WrestleMania. So I'm thinking that it's going to go that way. I mean, it'd be great if Lita goes to Mania, but if she does, I'm guessing it's going to be Women's Battle Royal kind of a thing. She'll get an entrance where she comes down and, you know, goes into the Women's Battle Royal. So I think it'd probably be something like that. But I don't see Lita winning the Rumble. Howdy from west of Tombstone. I'll be your Huckleberry. Pena has called out Ronda Rousey. Ben said, do you think Moxley will be in the Rumble? Nope. I don't think anyone from AEW, anyone that is under an AEW contract, will be in the Royal Rumble. Richard K said, surprise number 30. The countdown happens then. The Fiend enters. The entrance music hits. He enters at number 30. He fights Lashley at Mania. Tessa Blanchard surprises everyone in the Women's Rumble and wins. That's it, guys. Richard has called it. Richard has got, in fact, do you know what? You're absolutely right. You are absolutely right. I don't know why I didn't think of this before. It's absolutely going to get... I feel embarrassed right now that I didn't predict this before. That is going to be the Fiends. And this is going to be Tessa right here. So the Fiend and Tessa are going to be winning the 2022 Royal Rumble. Blaze Radio said virtual basement's the wrestling codes. Oh, I know that. I only know it as virtual basement. I've never heard of the wrestling code in my life. Virtual Basement looks good. Coming with people like Kurt, Rob Van Dam, C3, Leo Rush, Matt Sydal, PJ Black. What about this idea? Brock squashes Roman at Mania in 2 minutes, and then Roman leaves WWE, goes to AEW, where he finally gets booked properly. Yep, you're absolutely right. Roman, I'm going to put that down. Roman loses and goes to AEW. That's there we go. Roman loses and goes to AEW. I'm so glad you lot are here, because these predictions were an absolute mess until this community arrived and we actually started getting somewhere. So Roman's going to lose to Seth and go to AEW. Fiend's going to win the men's Royal Rumble. Tessa's going to win the women's Royal Rumble. This is all falling into place right now. This is all falling into place. Days, look at the graphic behind you. All those people could be possible people to win the match on the Rumble. Just the thoughts. Yep, they could. Days, what about Shane in the Rumble? I don't see Shane, to be honest. It's about he's not even in WWE. He's away from WWE. I mean, unless he's going to come back and have a match at WrestleMania. But God, would anyone even care? Would anyone care? I don't think I would care. I don't think I would care. So I'm going to hope not. But, I mean, I certainly don't expect him to win it. Could he be in it? I mean, yeah, he could be in it. To answer your question, he could be in it. I don't think he'll be in it. But I suppose, you know, they could have a Shane match at WrestleMania. They've got 2 nights to fill. So they could do a Shane match at WrestleMania. Blaze said Tessa's going to win the men's and Fiend will win the... Oh, my God, you're right. Blaze Radio, you're absolutely right. Yeah, absolute. Oh my God, I'm a sham. I'm an absolute disgrace. So I've just thought as well. Surprise will be Tony Khan. That's going to be an absolute fact. It's going to be Tessa that wins the men's. It's going to be the Fiend that's going to win the women's. I think a surprise in the women's as well. And this is going to excite a lot of people. Is going to be Cody and Brandy Rhodes. Cody and Brandy Rhodes. They're going to be surprises. So this is now starting to look really good. Winner of the men's rumble, Tessa. Surprise in the men's will be Tony Khan. Women's rumble will be won by the Fiend. Women's surprises are going to be Cody Rhodes and Brandy Rhodes. Yeah, the Rhodes twins. The Rhodes twins are going to have a match against the Bella twins at WrestleMania. And we've also got Roman Reigns losing and going to AEW. Liv and Zelina said, Days, come on, man. You know that Tony is going to be in all the matches. That's true. He's going to book himself in all of the matches. Hulk Hogan is going to be a surprise in the women's, says Blazed. Hasib said, Days, do you see a swerve happening at the Rumble where Brock and Roman retain? AJ wins the Rumble and selects Roman. Whoa, hang on, what? Oh, Jesus. I mean, honestly, we're getting to the point with some of these theories where you need a degree in, like, the Matrix to work it out. Okay, Brock and Roman retain, okay? AJ wins the Rumble, okay? He selects Roman and beats him, and then we get Brock Bobby too. So at WrestleMania, Roman, AJ, Brock Bobby. Could it happen? Sure. Do I think it will happen? No. I keep going back to Dave Meltzer's, rumored original plans, which is Brock versus Roman and Seth versus Big E or Bobby or Kevin. I don't know what they'll do with AJ, but the rumor I've heard, and it's had quite a bit of noise around it, is AJ and Edge. So AJ and Edge for WrestleMania. So AJ now taking on Roman, beating Roman. I don't think that's the way forward, to be honest. Richard K said, why are they still doing a 2-night Mania? It's so annoying. I hope it's not like that permanently for all the Manias going forwards. I am a little bit torn on 2-night Manias. Let me tell you why, right? The reason why I'm a little bit torn on 2-night Manias is because they keep doing long one-night ones, like WrestleMania 35. Like being like 7-8 hours long. It's like so exhausting. So 2 nights and it being like 3 hours long is a lot more manageable. The other thing as well is it is nice ending on the Saturday knowing that, right, guys, we are back again tomorrow and it's kind of nice knowing that you've got another WrestleMania coming up. I kind of like that. I must admit, there's things about 2-night Manias I don't mind. My ideal one would be a 1-night Mania that's around about 4 hours long, and that's it. That would be ideal. 3 to 4 hours, lovely. But, I mean, they were getting to the point where it was like 5-6 hours long, and then you had the pre-show. It's like, 7-night Manias are better. Yes! 7-night Manias. That's what we want. A Mania every night of the year. Could you imagine that? A Mania every night of the year. When are we going to get to that point? That's my question. Harley said, Days, Roman is going to tweet a video where he's in prison and he escapes and he becomes violent. Yeah. Looking forward to it, dude. It's going to be amazing. Rockstar Channel says, have you seen the WWE 2K22 cover? I have. Rey Mysterio looks nice. It looks good. If you've not seen it, check it out. It's taken social media by storm. Gooner Kid said Willow is coming. Well, I mean, Jeff Hardy has gone, hasn't he, from WWE? So I don't see Willow anytime soon. I don't think they'll bring... I mean, Jeff apparently was released because he went into the crowds and was having pictures taken with people in the crowd. And, like, he was actually released, so... unless Willow's going to AEW or Impact or something like that, I don't think so. A Mania a day keeps the Doctor away. Nice. We need a Mania show that's 24 hours and the whole show should be revolved around Drew's sword. That's exactly what we need. That is exactly what we need. J14 says, let's get these final comments. Tony Khan and Vince should become a tag team and hold the titles for about 18 years until the Bella Boys are able to wrestle. Tony Khan and Vince losing to put the Bella Boys over as new champions. I love that. I love that. Have you seen the Sky Bet odds for Lashley and Lesnar? I have not. I only have seen the Sky Bet odds for the Royal Rumble. I can jump into them now, actually. Sky Bet odds for Lashley Lesnar. They've got Brock 1-2, Lashley 6-4. I must admit, I'm not brilliant when it comes to like these kinds of odds. I'm so used to now using American ones because we always have like -120, +200. Like, I'm so used to that for UFC that now when I look at these like decimal ones, I'm like, I'm a bit lost. 1-10 for Becky Lynch and 11-2 for DOUDROP. So I think that means that you have to put down £10 to win £1 for Becky Lynch. So they're pretty confident Becky Lynch is winning. Edge and Beth is 4-11. Miz and MARYSE is 2-1. Don't know. Brock's 1-2, so that means you put down £2, you get £1 back. Bobby Lashley is 6-4. Jesus. I don't know. Thingy will know. James Chadwick will know. Don't you think he streams enough without having to do retro watch-alongs? Are you doing a retro watch-along before the Royal Rumble? Don't know. Don't know. How about them apples? I mean, next week, I don't know what we've got next Sunday. I mean, maybe. I don't want to commit to it because the problem I've got is that on a Saturday, we've got like a really big UFC stream that's taking up my focus. It's going to be my full focus. And then on the Sunday, we've got Premier League football. And the reason we're able to do this is because there was a Premier League game that was cancelled. Normally we do 2 Premier League games. So I don't know. I don't want to commit to it. But if there's a window of opportunity, then I will look at it. People really bet on WWE matches. Yep. I mean, not loads of people, but it is definitely something you can do. It does seem a bit crazy because you can't. It's just luck, isn't it? Really. I mean, there's not much that you can really base it on, but yeah. I mean, there are. You can go onto Sky Bet and you can bet on it. Yeah. We should stream Janet Jackson's halftime show. Amazing. Absolutely, we should. We should stream nothing else. Days, in my opinion, Mania 38, 134 looks best because the main event will be AJ versus Triple H. I've never seen someone so desperate for AJ versus Triple H in all my life. And on that bombshell, I'm going to bid you farewell. So there we go. 2 hours of hardcore Royal Rumble thoughts, predictions, talking about surprises, looking at odds, talking about the rumored WrestleMania cards, talking about potential feuds, talking about the Forbidden Door, talking about potential returns. Whew. Gone through a lot, man. It's good. It's nice to have it all in one place. I mean, this is stuff that we do tend to talk about on the watch-alongs. But obviously, we only get an hour before like the show starts. Over 2 hours of nothing but Royal Rumble here. So, yeah, hope you enjoyed it. Really appreciate the support. Really appreciate people stopping by and sharing their thoughts and opinions. Don't forget, we will be live streaming the Royal Rumble in, I think it's, 2 weeks' time? 2 weeks' time. It's not that far away at all. So 2 weeks today, we will be doing the Royal Rumble. So I hope you enjoyed this stream. I hope you enjoyed this watch along. Really do appreciate the support. And hopefully, I'll see you again next time. Bye for now.